Caitlin Clark drops one word, praise on Fever Rookies Commissioner's Cup, post as teammates rally around her. Stepping into Indiana a year after Caitlin Clark, Michaela Timpson had giant shoes to fill, and she took up the challenge with some real confidence. "Oh yeah, that's going to be pretty cool," Timpson said. "She's a great point guard, you know. She set the tone for the league last year. She had an incredible rookie season. I'm excited to play with her." Safe to say that she has been translating that excitement into good performance on the court, especially since the Fever has been without Caitlin Clark, Damiris Dantas, and DeWanna Bonner. Take her performance versus the Aces, for instance. She and her one mentor and fellow Florida State grad, Natasha Howard, received the @State Farm assist of the game. Or look up the block she made on Chelsea Gray during the Commissioner's Cup battle that the Fever won. That move even brought out a raw reaction from Caitlin Clark, who couldn't help but leap in pure, unfiltered joy as she watched from the sidelines. Soon after, the Fever squad was posing and holding the Commissioner's Cup trophy in hand. And yes, the multifunctional trophy, part award, part chalice. Thank goodness the Indiana Fever players managed to pose with it just in time, because not long after it became the centerpiece of their locker room celebration, filled with champagne. It came after they were not really taking it serious, and the trophy was the first step to their taking it, and it was the first time they felt, hold up, celebration, filled with champagne, with Caitlin Clark saying, "Who's next? Is she 21? Guys, is KK 21? Is KK 21? And yes, Michaela Timpson was next. After sipping from the same trophy, she went ahead and immortalized the moment by posting that iconic victory photo with the trophy on Instagram. She captioned with a simple yet powerful, "Secured." That said it all, but almost. Because the reigning rookie, Caitlin Clark, jumped into the comments to drop a single word. She wrote "dog" in the comments. Well, that word is the ultimate stamp of respect from a teammate. It is the basketball world's version of getting knighted. But Clark wasn't the only one to hype Timpson up. Other Fever players also dropped by to show some love and support. Sophie Cunningham went all hard eyes and wrote, "Yeah, KK." Fellow rookie Bree Hall wrote, and Aaliyah Boston went all out with a cute "big KK, not the little." This is not the first time that Aaliyah Boston has shown love online to the teammate. When the Fever franchise posted a video of Boston, Clark, Timpson, and Holla, the 2023 Winnipeg shared it on her Instagram story and wrote, "Bucket getters." Fortunately for Indy fans, it looks like the teammates are gelling well and the wins are stacking up, even without Caitlin Clark's presence. No Caitlin Clark, no problem losing Caitlin Clark was supposed to bury the Indiana Fever. For a while, it really seemed like it would. Just last week, everything was falling apart. They had fought hard for a big road win against Seattle on June 24 after 2 straight losses, only to get hit with one disaster after another. Fever waived DeWanna Bonner on June 25 because of an on-court fit problem. Caitlin Clark injured her groin, and in the following game, they choked away a late lead to the struggling Sparks, dropping to 7-8. That loss exposed their biggest flaw: poorly closing out games even when Clark was suited up. It felt like this team was cursed. But then, out of nowhere, they flipped the script. Without Clark, Bonner, or Damiris Dantas, they ripped off 3 straight wins, including a huge Commissioner's Cup final victory over the Lynx. And he repeated his bluffs without linking up and finally gave up to the pain in the butt. He ripped off 3 straight wins, including a huge Commissioner's Cup final victory over the Lynx, followed by a historic upset of the Aces that snapped a 16-game skid against them. Now, at 9-8, they have got mid-season silverware, a defense that has found its teeth, and a locker room buzzing with confidence. No Caitlin Clark, no problem losing. Caitlin Clark was supposed to bury the Indiana Fever. For a while, it really seemed like it would. Just last week, everything was falling apart. They had fought hard for a big road win against Seattle on June 24 after 2 straight losses, only to get hit with one disaster after another. Fever waived DeWanna Bonner on June 25 because of an on-court fit problem. Caitlin Clark injured her groin, and in the following game, they choked away a late lead to the struggling Sparks, dropping to 7-8. That loss exposed their biggest flaw: poorly closing out games even when Clark was suited up. It felt like this team was cursed, but then out of nowhere they flipped the script. Without Clark, Bonner, or Demiris Dantas, they ripped off 3 straight wins, including a huge Commissioner's Cup final victory over the Lynx, followed by a historic upset of the Aces that snapped a 16-game skid against them. Now at 9-8, they have got mid-season silverware, a defense that has found its teeth, and a locker room buzzing with confidence. Meanwhile, Coach Stephanie White has pulled off 2 coaching gems against elite teams like Minnesota and Las Vegas. Her defense is shutting down top offenses, and her play calling has never been sharper. If the Fever can utterly dominate a team like the Lynx without Clark, what is the ceiling with her? That question is suddenly impossible to ignore. Sure, Caitlin Clark's fame keeps Indiana in the spotlight, but this surge without her is revealing the Fever's real strength. Something special is cooking at Gamebridge, and when Clark comes back, this team might finally deliver on the hype that has always been there. The Indiana Fever locker room buzzed with celebration, an electric mix of sweat, laughter, and triumph. Confetti still clung to their uniforms, glittering under the bright lights like stars that had descended to share the moment. They had just clinched the Commissioner's Cup, a defining win in a season filled with grit, growth, and unexpected heroes. But there was someone missing, not from the team, not from the journey, but from the court that night. Caitlin Clark, the star rookie, the face of a franchise reborn, was sidelined, nursing a groin injury that had made her more spectator than sparkplug. She had watched the game from the bench, draped in Fever red, heart pounding with every fast break, every clutch shot, every defensive stand. And as the final buzzer sounded, sealing the Fever's 83-75 victory over the Minnesota Lynx, the team exploded in celebration. The team stood too, clapping, beaming, shouting as loud as anyone. But it wasn't about her that night. It was about a different rookie, Ari McDonald, a quiet fighter, a quick-footed guard who had stepped into the void Clark left and filled it, not with flash, but with fearless consistency. McDonald dropped 18 points, dished 6 assists, and delivered a lockdown defensive performance that turned the tide. The crowd loved her. The bench erupted for her. The WNBA noticed her. And then came the moment that ignited the internet. One word, one message. Later that night, Ari posted a simple photo on Instagram. Her mid-court, arms raised in victory, drenched in champagne and joy. Her caption? Just 3 emojis. A flame, a heart, and a trophy. Within minutes, likes poured in. Teammates flooded the comments. MVP energy. Ari season. Let him know. But then came Caitlin Clark's comment. Not long, not flashy, just one word. Killer. That was it. One word. But in Caitlin Clark's voice, it carried the weight of a novel. It was approval, admiration, and celebration all in one syllable. The basketball world noticed. A star who shares the spotlight in a sports landscape often dominated by ego and headlines, Caitlin's one-word praise did something rare. It lifted someone else. She wasn't chasing the camera or redirecting the spotlight. She handed it over. And that's what made her leadership special. While analysts debated her absence, questioning her recovery, criticizing her all-star inclusion despite injury, Caitlin was cheering harder than anyone for her teammates. In the post-game locker room, she made sure ARE had her moment. When reporters asked Clark about how it felt watching the Cup final from the sidelines, she grinned. "I wish I could have been out there," she said. "But honestly, watching Ari cook like that, it made my whole week. Girl's a killer." There it was again, that word. Ari blushed when asked about it during the press conference. "You know, when someone like Caitlin calls you that, it hits different," she laughed. "We're teammates, but it's love. It's respect. She's been in my corner since day one."